Everybody, I'm Ted Connor, Vice President of Economic Development and Community Sustainability with the Durham Chamber. I'd also like to recognize my colleague Kathy Hoffmeyer, who just come back from vacation, the lucky dog. 2 days. I think you went to scenic Fuquay Marina.
Not quite.
Well, not as good as that. Yeah, the hills of Fuquay are certainly beautiful. I'm here to, you ready? Here to talk this morning about 21st century business economic development in Durham, a topic for which I guess we're in it, but it's quite a challenge these days, and I hope that I've pulled together some slides. I've also gotten some slides from the Southern Research Council that talks a little bit about global and international factors, because what's happening in Durham is as much global, actually far more global than it is local. We are seeing more and more ramifications of global economic development. But we still have a very innovation-based economy, which in many ways fits in with a global economic development, so we are in a good position. All I can say is I got this slide for a recent meeting. Late 1998 and 2009 have just literally been a headache, just frustrating. Everybody just doesn't know what to do. When are we going to get out of the recession? Are we out of the recession? When do the jobs start coming back? Great questions. Even the best economists don't have a great answer, although they're paid great dollars to tell you that they need to study the situation even more. But having said that, this is a troubling time. But hopefully in these ensuing slides, you're going to learn a lot about what's going on and who's being impacted. I found this slide just last night. I thought it was interesting. At first, I didn't really know what this meant, and particularly at 1 a.m. when I was fine-tuning this, I had really no clear idea other than I really like the look of that guy's earring. But what this means is stay vigilant. Don't assume that what is taking place today is going to be good tomorrow. That's one of the messages. One of the things I looked at is how can people thrive in today's economy and particularly tomorrow? There are a lot of things impacting your life, whether it's business, it's social, it's global peace, or even our national legislative initiatives. These all impact our lives. But the one thing that I did observe, and I've seen this recently, in the last couple of years, is the world is moving faster than ever. The pace of change is picking up. Companies are flatter and more dispersed, and our clients and customers are more impatient. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody here that our customers are more impatient. I've gotten things now where people will send me an email inquiry. If I don't respond back in 2 hours, they're calling me or emailing me wanting to know what's going on. And so the key for the future business is to understand your situation and be able to respond to your clients. It's not necessarily when your clients are impatient that they want the answer. They just want to know that you've gotten their request and that you're working on it. So that makes it a lot of difference in terms of where we're going in the future with your communication capabilities. The other thing is space. I kept thinking a lot, 30, 40 years down the road, if we have a meeting, will we actually be in this space? Matter of fact, even 10, 15 years down the road. Just think back where we've come in the last 10 or 12 years with the internet and where we're going to be with the internet and with technology 10 or 12 years from now. I don't know if Don with his group is going to be designing office buildings. I don't know if we're going to be designing big office buildings or we're going to have a series of linked offices, which makes a big difference in terms of services and how we live life. This is something that came from Mark Dixon, founder and chairman of Regis Business Centers. And really, in many ways, some companies have gone to this in the last decade where if you work at IBM, you may not have an office. You may have a temporary office where you can come in and plug in your computer and you rock and roll from there. Your information is on the web, but you can be very virtual in terms of where you go. So the way we're looking at buildings is going to change dramatically in the next decade or so. But it also means changes how we work, where we work from, and how you operate your business. Because there may be more time for someone to run the car down and get them fixed at AMCO. That's the thing, is what has worked in the past may be the old model, and we need to be looking ahead for what's the new model for business. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update of where are we today and where we're in terms of July 2009 and July 2007. 2007, life was pretty good. We had 4.2% unemployment, 8.4%. It's interesting how it literally doubled. I didn't realize that, but our workforce is larger, but clearly we have a lot more people out of work. And a couple, yes ma'am?
This is Durham County.
Correct. And these are Durham County residents. And some slides you'll see people working in Durham County. Sometimes you'll see a slide that's Durham County residents. So we have more people working, but clearly we've not grown the jobs as fast as we needed to, or a lot of jobs that were here have gone away for a short while. We just don't know when they're going to come back. Something we got from the Southern Growth Policies Board is giving you an idea of nationally what we're seeing in terms of jobs lost. And I don't want to focus so much on jobs lost as I want for us to understand the paradigm here. The jobs have gone away, but what do we see coming back, and how does that affect you in terms of your future business world? You can see a lot of states have really suffered, and North Carolina is one of those. Well, and that's because we had a lot of old line manufacturing jobs. A lot of old style jobs have gone away, and we're going to see shortly how it relates also to the global economy. But it was interesting when I looked at where did we lose the jobs. We looked at our 2008 annual average and our 2007. We, of course, for government, we didn't have any 2009 numbers, which would have been immensely helpful. But one thing, a lot of people think that in terms of the employment average, that construction would have been decimated. If you look, it's only 1.7% down. It's probably accelerated a little bit since then. But the other area where we saw were general services that saw a huge decline. Annual employment, at least throughout 2008, remained fairly steady. Now, it's interesting, if you look, we have our financial activities where we saw an 8% gain, and we're continuing to see that in that arena. And that's because we're continuing to grow that as one of our industry clusters. Now, I wanted to see what types of jobs were really being impacted. We saw printing and textile mills being very severely impacted. We've seen a number of printers go out of business, and it's a number of offset printers. So that means, do you need to think about, if you're a printer, where you're going in the future with your printing? Do you need to go digital laser and things like that to remain quicker in response to your client's needs? We also saw at this point motor vehicle and parts dealers. Car sales down 45%. Anybody remotely associated with the auto industry is really feeling it. And it's industry in Durham County, our textile mills, which are actually very modern, state-of-the-art computer-controlled production facilities using synthetic materials, are really feeling the pain because they supply a lot of their materials to the apparel industry as well as to the automobile industry. And when business is down 45%, you're going to see a resultant impact in other areas of our economy. We saw a significant one here in management and administrative services. That's not a surprise, but it's interesting to see management of companies, we saw probably the largest decline, 12.8%. So this economy is very different in terms of who it's affecting. Administrative and support services, 9.4%, but it's the managers that are going these days, not as many worker bees is going. And obviously printing and related services and specialty trade contractors are being impacted as well. So it gives you an idea where things are going. I talked a little bit about global impacts. If you look back in 1986, the United States was a huge exporter. Now you look back to 2005, we're still a large exporter, but China has certainly usurped our position, but Japan and Germany have remained strong. But you look and see where South Korea, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, they've all dramatically increased their exporting activities. This is an interesting situation. It's not necessarily bad. A lot of companies now are importing products, putting it into the production process, their systems operations. What it means is, it doesn't necessarily mean we lose jobs.